I am going to be spilling all the teas on how I sponsored myself to do my master's program in Canada. I paid all of my tuition, paid all of my bills while I was the student. I'm going to let you into how I did all of that. Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're returning, you already know I love you so much. And if this is your first time seeing me, hey love, where have you been? Welcome to my channel. My name is Mara. I'm a Nigerian, but I currently live in Canada. I share my life in Canada, personal growth, vlogs, and all of that good stuff. I am sure you're gonna love it here, so make sure to subscribe and stick around. I feel like all of my old subscribers that kind of watch my vlogs, because that is when you get to know me better, that watch my vlog would testify to the fact that I always say that I sponsored myself. And I know that might not be so much of a big deal to so many people, but it's a big deal to me, being that, you know, I knew where I was coming from and I knew my goals and knew my background. Such a big deal, because I know that I worked hard to get here. It might not be a big deal to some other people, all right? So it is okay, but for me it's a big deal. And today I've decided to share, you know, how I did it, the things that I considered, like everything, just how I sponsored myself in Canada. I'm honestly, you know, feeling like a lot of people moving to Canada right now, especially people moving from Africa. Most people are just tired of being in Africa, or Nigeria to be precise, and just want better for themselves, so they are willing to pay the price to move. So that is what inspired me to make this video, because that was also me 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago, before I came here. I was just fed up with the system and I just wanted to go up my education and get a better life. And I think that, you know, that is something that I feel like most Nigerian youths, you know, would be able to relate to. So if you're interested in that, definitely keep watching. So I will always, you know, start this type of video with a backstory, just in case you don't know me. The first will be back to the decision to move to Canada. Okay, it has always been something I wanted to do. Even when I was still in the university doing my bachelor's in Nigeria, I just knew that I was going to move to, you know, a different country to do my master's. If I like it there, I will stay back. That has always been my thing. That I had 3 countries in mind. I had the US, I had Canada, and I had Germany. The reason why I wanted to go to Germany was because, if you don't know, in some of those European nations, public universities, tuition is free. Like, it's free to go to school there. But one thing that discouraged me about Germany was the language barrier. I suck with languages. Like, I am not good with learning languages, so I just knew it was a barrier. And for US, I loved US, but I was also like, do I really want to live in the US? Okay, and I was also thinking of I wasn't sure if I wanted to live in the US at the time, and also the cost of education in the US was quite high, and I was looking for scholarships too. I didn't get scholarships, so it was as if Canada was the last option for me somehow, and Canada somehow also was my best option out of these countries. So I decided to move to Canada, looked for scholarship here and there, but I just felt like getting a scholarship outside when I'm still in Nigeria wouldn't be so easy. So I just knew what, you know what, plans has to change. So I decided that, you know, I'm going to be more strategic with my plan. I'm going to go to Canada and I'm going to fund my education. And if I get a scholarship while at it, chef case, like perfect, but I'm not going to focus on that scholarship because I wasn't sure if it was coming or not. I mean, if you have the energy to pursue scholarship from outside, do that, but from my experience, scholarship is always better when you're already in the country, and easier, to be honest. So that was the decision to move to Canada. Just backstory. Okay, so I came into Canada, applied for my visa. My story is on my YouTube. Like, I shared my visa experience, proof of funds, and all of that. If you want to catch up with that, just go through my immigration playlist and you're gonna see all of that. I applied for my visa. I was so lucky, such a lucky girl. God loves me so much. I got my visa in 10 days, and yeah, the journey to move to Canada. I moved to Canada. I landed in Canada on the 17th of August. You guys, if you see me mumbling when I'm thinking of numbers, it's not like I don't remember it. My head just doesn't work well with numbers, okay? So I landed Canada 17th of August 2022, and that was in Toronto. Then I moved to my city where I'm currently residing on the 19th of that same August 2022. And if you're wondering, I currently reside in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. So when I arrived Canada, students were only allowed to work 20 hours, and I was thinking to myself, how am I going to be able to work just 20 hours and pay my tuition? Like, it's just, take this as a story time, honestly. How am I going to do this? I was so worried. You know, I was about to shit my pants and just praying to God and trusting God for some kind of miracle. And God did the miracle for me. On sometime in October of that 2022 that I moved in, the government of Canada passed a new law that starting from November 15th of 2024, that students were now allowed to work full-time. I remember I was at work when I saw that news, and like I was super excited. So background, because since we are talking about being able to fund our life here, I'm going to be talking a lot about jobs. Okay, so immediately I got here August of 2020. Whoever created numbers didn't have me in mind. 2022. Once I arrived here, I got a job in September. So I started working in September, like less than a month that I got here, I started working. So that was good for me because I mean I needed to pay my bills and all of that. In as much as I already kind of have the first month, which is something you have to keep in mind. If you're coming to Canada, I advise you, and you have plans to fund yourself, at least make sure you have the first few months figured out for your rent. I already had the first few months of my rent kind of like figured out how I'm gonna do that. I have siblings, like just so don't think that when I made the decision to pay my tuition that I didn't have family. My first few months of rent, sorry, were taken care of, and my parents also did pay some portion of my first semester tuition. So I started class immediately, right? So yeah, but I just knew that I wanted to pay the rest going forward. All right, so I started working. So when the government passed that law, I was super excited. So I started working like a crazy person. I was working in the university. So tips for you, if you're coming to Canada, I mean, currently that law is done and gone. Okay, it ended on the 30th of April 2024. So but if you're coming to Canada right now and you want to be able to earn more as a student, or ensure that you work on campus, get a job on campus, and also have a job outside. That way you can have more hours, because the government, they do not count the hours you work inside the university as long as you're a student. Okay, thank me later if you don't know already. So yeah, I was working on campus and I had a job outside as well. I just filmed a video where I talked about how much I earned as a student in Canada. I filmed a video about that. I'm gonna put it here because I'm sure it's gonna go up before this one. So yeah, I talked about this extensively, the jobs that I did extensively in that video. So I started doing that first job. December of that 2022, I got my second job, which was outside university, and I still had other jobs that I did in the university. So if you want to find out about all of the jobs that I did that kind of helped me save up, get the money to be able to sponsor myself, go watch that video. This video is going to just be like telling you guys things I considered. Okay, so when I came here, and I thank God that that law was passed, so I was able to now work crazy. I was working a lot, you know, while I was a student. So the first point I would say here is make sure that you have a plan. Make sure that you at least, you know what you're getting into. So the plan for me was, okay, my parents, you guys are gonna help me clear my first few months of rent. You guys are gonna help me pay some portion of my tuition for the first, you know, semester, and I can be fine, right? So if I'm not worried about paying my bills, so that was something that was really helpful for that couple of months, right? Few months before I started having more, you know, sustainable or consistent income. How was I able to pay my tuition? And again, something I also always talk about is how much is the tuition. So those are the things I considered. I could have moved to Toronto, I could have moved to BC, I could have done a master's in MBA or whatnot, but I chose to move to a city that is reasonably priced. So that is something that I considered, which is part of the point I'm making in this video. Another thing that you might also consider is the course you're studying. MBAs, nursing, tech courses, some of those courses are crazy expensive. If it's your passion, then you have to find another way around it. But if you're like me, I mean, I didn't even have a choice because my background is already in humanities and social sciences. I have my bachelor's in history and international relations. So I just knew I wanted to study humanities or social sciences, right? That was what I really wanted. So I was lucky that I still got what I wanted to, and I was still able to fund it. So I did my master's in sociology. Yeah, and good thing my tuition was very, very reasonably priced. So this is how it went. For each course that I took on my program, I had to pay at least 2,000 for each of my courses, and in a semester I would take just 2. So at the end of the day, my tuition for each semester would be around 5,000 Canadian dollars or thereabout, and it wasn't so hard for me to pay that, being that I was working. I remember a semester is like 4 months. So I kind of like, when I'm getting my money, when I'm getting paid, I'm saving up and all of that. I'm keeping my savings and paying my rent, right? So that was the first thing that I did, like to pick a course that I would be able to afford. Second thing that I did was to be aware of my decision and kill any other thing that is going to affect that decision. right, my goals, which is unnecessary spending, living in a very expensive apartment. This apartment that I live in is the same apartment I've been living in since I came to Canada. And I'm not saying you have to do what I did or be like me. If you have the means, if you have the money, my love, go for it. Like, life is really for the living. Enjoy your life. But if you don't have the means, please think of strategic ways to help yourself. All right, this apartment I live in, I don't like it anymore. I want to move to a new apartment, but it served me and it's still serving me because I'm able to save money and put my money in relevant places, right? And so I am not paying a ridiculous amount of money on rent. So if you're moving to a bigger city that you're going to be paying more, just know that you're going to be paying that. But yeah, that's by the way. I've considered moving a lot of times, and when I consider the cost, I'm like, yeah, it's still very reasonably priced. This house is reasonably priced and it's so close to my work, my school, everything. So it's also hard for me to leave. So that brings me to the second point. Make sure you're cutting down on expenses. Don't, do things because people are doing it. Maybe moving to a fancy apartment because people are, no, your life's trajectory is different and the dynamics is different from others. So don't copy people. Make sure you are enjoying the benefits that you can, not, incurring expenses that is high. If you're getting your phone bills and all of that, make sure you opt for cheaper ones, like just generally things that can help you save money. The next point here is almost the same as the previous point that I was talking about. Is actually being able to manage your finances, because I kind of feel like you can earn like up to 100,000 Canadian dollars, right? Like in a year, and you can still blow everything off, like if you're not conscious of your finances. So make sure that you're prioritizing things that needs to be prioritized. And one thing again I also learned is that, like, when my income was increasing gradually, I wasn't fast to try to kind of increase my living standards, right? Like I said, there are so many things I want to change. There are so many things I wanted to like improve, but I just didn't see the need to improve on those things or like move to a new apartment just because my income is increasing, but it's not even where I want it to be. So I just wanted to be able to save more, do more things for myself that are necessary, and all. So just be diligent. Just be diligent with your finances. One thing again, people come to Canada, people are already taking trips. I'm not saying all those things are bad. Like I said, we only live once. If you can afford them, go for it. But if you truly cannot because you have to pay your tuition, why put yourself under that unnecessary pressure? Make sure you're tracking, your income. Make sure that you are putting your money where it should be. And the first thing that was my priority was my tuition. Right? So that was my priority. Every other thing came second, right? My tuition, my rent, my bills, then every other thing came second. Another thing, do not rush into this. I've kind of talked about being very conscious of your finances, right? And the fourth point I'm going to talk about, do not rush into financing stuff when you come here as a student. I feel like this is something I can never overemphasize. People come here, they get the big phone, they get the big laptop, they get the big stuff they want to finance. Don't get me wrong. Again, if you have need for those things, buy them, because you're not going to be able to get jobs if you don't have a good working phone. But if you have a good working phone, what do you have business with upgrading to the latest technology? Because now you're in Canada where you can finance stuff. That is such a, bad attitude, like just such a bad decision. Like I can never comprehend it because people are doing it. No, those people, their lives different. They might be getting support from back home. They might be getting people sponsoring them, and you're gonna compare yourself to someone that you don't even know their life story, right? I always use myself as an example. I came here with iPhone 11 Pro Max, and trust me, in fact, my few months here, I was very comfortable enough to buy the latest iPhone, but I didn't because I felt like, why? This phone is still serving me. And I was a content creator, like doing most of my content, my videos for Instagram, for YouTube with my iPhone 11 Pro Max. I didn't feel the pressure because I've trained myself not to, right? Till I decided to, okay, let me get a camera, because I felt like that would be better because space and all of that. Let me get a camera. I got a laptop at a point because the one I came with wasn't serving me anymore, right? But I still was able to get what I can afford at that moment. I didn't want to finance anything. I did not want anything financing. So something I always tell students, if you come here, if you can avoid it, if you can avoid getting that latest phone, please avoid it, because with Apple, they will keep having newest technology every single year and you can always buy it. So why put yourself under that pressure? That 15 or 14 you bought when you arrived there is old fashioned now. In fact, 17 is on its way to come out very soon. So don't put yourself under that unnecessary pressure. If you need it, why not? But That pressure to meet up, nope. I used my iPhone 11 Pro Max up until a couple of months back when I started to now get the iPhone 16, because it was just evident I was having space issue. I can't even edit short videos, and you guys already know, if you watch my vlog, I always rant about it. Even the video you guys are watching now, I edit with my phone. So all the time I've been here, I shoot with my camera, but I edit my videos with my phone, and I was having the worst storage experience, which I feel like is one of the worst things that any creator can experience. But I still was able to manage it, right? Because I just knew, no, I wasn't going to finance a phone till I was done with school. I said I wasn't going to finance anything till I was done with school. And you know, I also got a car, right? And the reason why I got a car was that I just felt like God blessed me at that time, and I had the money to genuinely buy the car and still pay my tuition. The video that I said you guys should go watch, where I talked about how much I earned as a student in Canada, I did say that I did some contract job that gave me a huge, like a lump money that I was able to use to buy my car. So I bought the car up front. Like, I didn't have to finance it. Even the car that I still drive, I bought it up front. I'm not saying now I have a job, if I want to finance a car, maybe reasonable, but I still wouldn't, because my car is still good. So why would I put myself under that pressure? So what I'm saying in essence is that if you have the idea or conceiving the idea to sponsor yourself here and go through, don't do things the way other people are doing it. Do things the way it will work for you, because if you start financing a car, it's not just the insurance you'll be paying for, the financing you'll be paying for insurance, depending on the insurance you opt for. It is crazy. So make sure you're thinking well before you go into financing anything in Canada. Another thing you have to do is to make sure you take your academics seriously. You guys, if you're thinking to finance yourself or, you know, sponsor yourself in Canada, make sure you take your academics seriously, because this place, they don't joke, okay? If you fail, you fail out, okay? They're gonna give you a certain opportunity, but if you fail, you're out. For my first semester, it was a qualifying semester, so they didn't let me into my program because they felt I didn't have the background. I was coming from pure arts and humanities, but now I was going into social sciences. So they said my first semester was going to be qualifying course. So if I pass those 2 courses in my first semester, then I'll be qualified to take the master's in sociology. If not, I fail out. So take your academics seriously. I was able to pass by God's grace. That was my hardest, toughest, one of the hardest semesters I've ever had, because I was doing SPSS, as data analytics, more like data methodologies and stuff like that. Is something that was so new to me. I hate numbers. Anything that has to do with numbers, I dislike it so much, but I had to do that. It was so tough, and being that I was new, I didn't know anybody, it killed me. I cried, but I just knew that I was gonna do this because I have to pass this course to be able to get into the program. And God willing, I passed it. I got into the program. And that brings me to the point. I'm saying it because I'm saying take your academics seriously, because it's gonna be a foundation, like more like a bedrock for you to thrive. So I was a successful student. I got some scholarship from my faculty and my department. So now when I talked about scholarship in the beginning part of this video, when I did say that sometimes you might not get scholarship when you're still back home. So when you arrive here and you're doing well, then you can now start exploring those options of scholarships, right? Because your grades are looking good, and my academic advisor, they knew me and all of that. I was like a very vibrant student. So you have to also try and socialize, network, and that is my next point. Try and network, because networking is going to help you build your community. It's going to help you build your finances, because somehow you're going to help, you know, find people that will help you connect you to jobs. Like I said, all the jobs I did in Canada, apart from my current job, which I got through co-op is also networking, because they get all the jobs for you. You just need to apply, and if the company finds you fit, they will take you. The school will do all the connection for you. It's technically also connection. So let's say that all the jobs that I did here was out of connection. So you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to connect. You have to be able to build a network, because somehow one person will know one person that will talk to another person. But if you're always in your room and just, it's going to be harder for you to even, you know, be able to pay your tuition and support yourself here. I will summarize by saying that you being able to fund your tuition in, you know, your tuition in Canada or wherever you are is totally hugely dependent on your lifestyle, right? I feel like I was able to pull it off because of my lifestyle and the kind of idea that I kind of like instilled in myself. So you have to tell yourself, you have to cut down on unnecessary spending. You have to be serious with your academics. You have to take your life seriously. You're not at anytime they call party or you are not there. Like, you are just serious. Like, you're just serious with your life. And another thing I'm gonna say that is gonna be very, very key, very, very key, is when you're coming here and, you know, a lot of friends back home will be expecting you to come here, settle and start sending money. Don't do that. Do not do that. You know, small things that I would do here and there for them. I'm like, I will give you money, but like, I'm not going to carry your problem because I have a bigger problem at hand that I'm trying to solve. So make sure you're not trying to impress friends by sending money back home all the time, because you have to finish your program first before you can get your stand to, even start like supporting people. It's almost like a blind person leading a blind person. Is that possible? You cannot be blind and be leading another blind person. You have to find yourself first. You have to find your sight before you can lead anybody. And that means finishing your program, graduating, and getting a good job. I am not saying as a student you won't be able to send money back home because you earn in dollars, right? So you're probably doing better. But do not make it your priority to support people's need back home. Your major focus should be your program, because if you don't finish that program, or if you get withdrawn, or you're not be able to take your classes because you're not paying up, those people back home will still be there and they will survive. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. That was one thing I was very conscious of. I would help, but with wisdom. Okay. And the last but not the least is to pray. You guys, I don't even know how to say this. I don't know how to say that I did this without God, because I feel like God was like, and is still the most instrumental part of my journey. Because how can I explain the fact that I came to Canada 2 months into coming to Canada? Students were not allowed to work full-time. Then 2 months into finishing my program, they stopped it. Like, how can I explain it? Because then I was now able to work like a crazy mad person. And while I was still working, he was giving me the grace to, pick the right courses. And I feel like that's another thing I have to talk about. Make sure you're picking the right courses that will not frustrate you. Because I remember that all the courses I took, this professor was super nice. In fact, because of this professor, I ended up taking a lot of courses with him, because this man, even when I'm running late to pay my tuition to be able to register another course, he will keep slots for me. So make sure that you're praying and asking God the grace to pick right courses. There's something we call rate my professor in Canada. Before you take any class, make sure that you're rating the professor to see the professor's reviews. I've had a course that I wanted to take, and one man just said, go to that place. I just went and I was seeing bad reviews, and then I asked the people that took the course. They said one nasty things about this, and I just said, you know what, no, I'm not going to take that course. So those kind of courses can keep you down, and if you fail, you do it again and you pay money. So you don't even want to do that. So make sure you're watching out for rate my professors. Ask your previous course mates. That's another thing I did well. I would also, at Kinsey, I was so lucky that I knew people personally that was already in my program, right? So I will ask them, did you take this course? How was it? They will even recommend some of the ones that they took, and I will now go and take it. Or I'll be like, did you take this course? They'll be like, no, I didn't take it, but I did this and this. Just make sure you're talking to people. Then that was one of the things that helped me. They will give me their past materials. So all of the point I'm making kind of like ties back to just networking, having sense. Because if you don't have sense, you're going to suffer. You're going to see way. So make sure that you have sense, that your senses are there. And I mean, the last but not the least, like I was saying, is God. Make sure that God, you are holding God tight, because he's going to see you through the journey of immigration or moving to a different country as a student, as a permanent resident, whatever, is a journey of faith. I always say it's a journey of faith, and God has to just be with you. And how do you, ensure that? By constantly communicating to God, letting him know your plans, letting him lead you, right? Just surrendering everything to him and letting him lead the way. I feel like that's one of the things, like I always see God working things out for me. It just doesn't make sense. It can only be God. So make sure you hold God tight in your immigration journey, in your journey as a student, and make sure you are, holding yourself accountable in your finances. Make sure you're not spending money just because you feel pressure to. Make sure you're not sending money back home because you feel pressure to. Prioritize things that are important to you. Take care of yourself. And that is another thing. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, because it can get overwhelming and stressful. That is for sure. There so many times I cried, so many times I broke down, so many times I became sick. Good thing is Canada is a country where you can get free healthcare. I had to do blood work and get medication. Sometimes I also give myself break. So in all of that, make sure you're taking break when you need it. Like, it's very, very important. There was a week I just didn't work at all. I'm like, I just needed a break. So make sure you are taking breaks, but make sure you are very, very, you're someone that have so much aspiration that they just keep pushing you. Like, you can't just be laid back, okay? And yeah, I'm rooting for you. I did it. You can do it. So many people are doing it. It's just because I happen to be a content creator and I share my story. A lot of people that are even way younger than me that are in Canada are sponsoring themselves. Like, it's so inspiring. So you can do it if you want to, but make sure you consider the point that I talked about. Consider where you're moving to, consider the province, consider the school, consider the cost of tuition, you know, consider the rent of the apartment you want to live in. Just consider all of that. It will help you make an informed and better decision. And I can't wait to see you at the top, okay? I can't wait to see you at the top. And thank you guys again for watching this video. Did you find it helpful? If you did find it helpful, please do well to like. And if this is your first time watching my video and you watched to this point, that means you love me and I love you right back. Just give me a like and subscribe. And you guys already know, when you leave a comment on my video, like, I love it. Like, I just love it because I love to connect with you guys. Please leave me a comment. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.